welcome back to another episode of AGP Redefined. I am Lisa, one of the verbal coaches here at Avant-Garde. I do a lot of essay work, which is how I've gotten to know these two gentlemen. This is Sloan and Cary, respectively. We have so much Cole going on today.
Yes.
If we can start off by y'all introducing yourself. Mr. Sloan, would you like to go first?
Yes, I'm Sloan. I'm a senior at College Station High School. I'm the president of FCA, and I've been really involved in the Boys State and Boys Nation programs with the American Legion. This past summer, I kind of just, I'm a jack of all trades. I do a lot of stuff at the high school.
All right, I'm Cary. I go to Bryan High School. I swim for Bryan High, or I did swim. Well, I do like the coding society here at Avant-Garde, and I also went to Boys State. So.
Yeah, we had two Boys State guys.
I know I've seen you before.
Yeah, I was at the Boys State dinner.
Oh yeah, you were. Oh my gosh, it's like worlds colliding in my mind right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of small world moments in Avant-Garde, but I guess I didn't know. When I emailed him, I was like, oh, we'll just do both of the Coles because they're also both of our Boys State boys, and this will be amazing.
I associated because I know I've seen you before, but I guess I associated your face with Boys State, and so whenever you walked in here, it's like I've never seen you before.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This speaks to how busy most of our students are.
Especially if you don't know their name, a name with a face makes it a little difficult.
Cary has also lost about 10 pounds of hair probably since the last time you saw him.
Since Boys State, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Probably not since the dinner though.
Yeah. So what we're actually here to talk about is our college application and essay workshops and private assistance. Both of y'all went the private assistance route, correct? And then Cole, I think you're receiving kind of our whole gamut of services. Are you a consultation client?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've been working with us for how many years at this point?
1.5, maybe 2.
Okay, so picking up your junior year, and our consultation services include some SAT or ACT prep, college selection assistance, and then also the essays as well. And then Sloan, you came to us just kind of for the college essay work. Did we do SAT together?
We did ACT together.
ACT together, that's right. It has been
It is, yeah.
It's been a very busy spring and summer.
Yes, it has.
So working with the essays, one of the things that we like to do, because it's really hard to decide on a story to tell, especially when you're as busy as you guys are, is we kind of take you through a bunch of writing exercises that are designed really to make y'all open up and let me or Rob get to know you. So can y'all kind of speak to your experiences with the writing exercises?
You want to go first?
I think you should go first.
All right. So with the writing exercises, whenever I first saw them, I was like, what can I really say that I haven't already said? But once I started really diving into some of the different things that I could talk about in different moments, just all sorts of memories flooded into my mind and things that I actually didn't really think about myself. But then I realized that I really had these, like, whether they were attributes or I really had these experiences, and it kind of all blended together whenever I started writing my essays. And it really helped me have more talking points and have more sophisticated essays, which was really, really exciting whenever I got to push the submit button.
So what was your favorite, of our exercises? We kind of have the values exercise and the experiences exercise and the characteristics. What was your favorite exercise or your least favorite exercise? What was really challenging?
It sounds really simple, but there was a what's your favorite word exercise, or it was like a question. And I'll just make up one most of the time, but I actually wanted to think about it and think about my life and the things that I've done. And I came up with the word zealous. And it was kind of interesting because you take passion and then a doing aspect, and I really thought that word spoke a lot to who I had been over the course of my high school career. And so that one really kind of changed the way I looked at that, and I looked at myself and I thought, well, this is the kind of person I want to be. I want to be a kind of person that not only loves what he does, but wants to attack it and wants to actually do it. I don't want to, it kind of took me from, I've been experiencing things and watching to a doing, which was kind of cool. Yeah.
That's nice. So it helped you not only reflect on your essays, but also moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Cole, what was your experience? Now, I didn't get to work with you in the initial steps. You worked with Rob, I think, in the initial steps. So walk me through that, because I have no idea your experience.
So it was a group of us, and we're in here with all the exercises in that, with the pamphlet that they gave, or not the pamphlet, but like the book.
Cool book.
And so we fill that out, and it was having like 2 friends from school did not help actually in the experience. So, but I think probably my favorite one was definitely like the values.
Okay.
Definitely, because it's like, what do you like he said, what do you define yourself as, you know? And that correlates probably directly to what you've done in your past, you know, your experiences and what you can write about. And so when you talk about your values, you're immediately trying to tie in things that you do or like to do.
Yeah, and it's funny because with part of the intention of that is both directions. Sometimes students can come up with values that they find really important. Sometimes they're able to think of things that they've done and through that analyze like, well, why did I do this? Why was this so important to me? But I kind of love what you said about doing it in the class setting. The class setting is great because it kind of, you can hide a little bit and take some time to really think things through. And it's not like, you know, what Cole had to deal with where I'm sitting over the table, forcing him to open up to me, even though we've barely met. But the other thing is there are people in the room and you might know some of those people. So if you prefer opening up in kind of smaller situations, private instruction is probably the way to go. So that's an excellent point. So once we've kind of accomplished those writing exercises and Rob and I get to sit down with your books and we get to read through it silently while you stare and feel like we're judging you probably. How did you feel about the experience of us taking those writing exercises and kind of asking you guiding questions in order to decide what story we were going to tell? Did you have a story in mind when you came to us?
Whenever I first started the process, there were a few things I'd been told, like experiences, like from my mom, like, oh, you need to write about this, and or my friends would be like, oh, you need to write about this. But once I got here and I started kind of seeing the flow of some of the exercises and some of the things that I had said, and then some of the guiding questions, it kind of, at first it was kind of hard for me to write an essay different than what I had came in thinking I would write. But then all of a sudden, once I started writing it, it kind of just wrote itself, which was really cool once I had done all the exercises. But definitely coming in, I did not think I was going to be writing about Boise State. It was kind of, in the beginning, it was, as you probably know, it was pretty crazy. It was a pretty crazy experience, not one that I really wanted to live back 100 times over, especially in the really hard moments. Once I came in here and started going through some of the processes, it became apparent that for my main essay, talking about some of my struggles and some of my wins was the right thing to do. With all those exercises and kind of going through the process with the guiding questions, it became so much more sophisticated than just me telling a story. It became a lesson and something that like actually grew me in the process and something I could really take away. And it wasn't just a college essay, it was more of a goals essay too, which is kind of cool.
And I think that's important what you said about it's hard to write about your struggles. Students often think that when they're applying to colleges, they have to present this almost impervious perfect affect. And one of the things I always tell students is like, you're never going to be the coolest person to apply to any college, whether it's Sam Houston or A&M or Harvard. You're never going to be the coolest person in the world. Don't try to come off as the coolest person. So being able to own kind of those, you know, moments of weakness or moments of like borderline regret and showing how you came away from them, I think that can be really impactful. Cole, what about you? Did you have any ideas what you wanted to write about before you got here, or?
Literally none. I actually hadn't thought about writing college essays at all. Probably, I think. I don't really remember. And probably I don't remember because I didn't think about it.
Fair. That's how logic works.
So,
So how did Rob kind of walk you from the writing exercises to deciding your story?
Well, it was more like brainstorming, right? So we take what I think I like in here, right? And I said that you think of what you want to show, right? And so you choose like a collection of stories to show those attributes. Because those stories may be where you gain those attributes, but it also can be like where you grow, I think. Because like that's what the essay was for. It was for growth. We wanted to show the colleges that I've progressed as a person, and that I would grow and progress in the college too. And so I think.
So what was your favorite, like if you had a key moment in your essay that just really made you happy, what was it?
It was definitely, actually I shouldn't say that. It was, I would think it was probably the Boise State actually. He talked about it. It was definitely the Boise State. That was like so much building across like the board there. That and like swimming, because like before that I hadn't really thought about like how long I'd been doing it for and how much of my life went into it. And so like when I started this year, it was like probably like the peak of that. And so when I was writing my essays, I definitely felt that like that was where like that was like the dedication and the hard work there all came from like doing the sport and trying to and sticking with it.
It's hard having, you know, especially as a senior, you're go, you've been planning your life since, you know, day one it feels like, and you're trying to prepare for college, and then someone sits and says, reflect and be quiet and acknowledge all of these things about yourself, and that can be extraordinarily difficult, but I'm very impressed that both of y'all took that time. So often we kind of start the college application essay, that main essay, and we're going to share that with a variety of universities. Did y'all know going in what schools you wanted to apply to? Did you have like, here's one I want, but I need help finding others? What did that college selection process look like for you?
I'd say it was more like what you just said. I knew one and I needed help finding others. Growing up in College Station, you throw up the gig 'em all the time, and you know that no matter what, you're most likely going to apply there. So I knew, and I've always known that I love A&M, and that's my main place I wanted to apply. But I had not really known a bunch of the other universities that were good for business, like what I want to apply for. Until I started talking about not necessarily the essays, but college that I want to send them into. So that kind of set me on a different path than what I originally thought. I originally thought I would just probably apply to A&M and UT and Rice. But once I got my my application essay all the way folded out, doors just started opening in my mind, and y'all both, you and Rob, started talking about all these schools across the country, which at first is kind of scary to think about moving away, especially whenever there's a university right there,
right.
Where the logic is, why don't you just go right up the road when like you don't have to go miles and miles away. So whenever y'all started talking about that with me and started naming some of these universities and really just telling me and giving me confidence that I had a shot, it's kind of changed the whole game for me.
Yeah, so have you, you applied nationwide, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm in the process of applying mostly to the faraway schools right now.
Cool. And then what about you, Cole? What was your how did we help with college selection? Did you have some ideas in your head? And then what is your major field of interest?
Comp sci.
That's right.
And so there's a lot of good schools like close by, like he said, A&M, UT, and Rice all have great comp sci programs. Probably UT's the best out of those three, but there's a lot of other options like in the country, like just in general, and being able to see looking at what I liked and what I wanted to do, and seeing that list that he thought that I could do was like really, really cool. You know, a lot of schools that I didn't even think about, or some schools that I didn't think were achievable were on that list, you know, and so.
Well, it's funny that both of y'all bring up A&M and UT and Rice, because those are such different schools. And I know when Rob talks to students about college selection, do you want an urban school, which is what UT is, where Austin and UT kind of intertwine, or do you want a traditional campus like A&M, where when you're on campus, you're on campus? You know, Rice is kind of a smaller campus, it's a little more intimate, and finding those things out about students is how he's able to guide you towards these other options. You know, do you want to remain in a small town? Do you want that big city feel? And so I think that's great that y'all kind of had three options that helped him lead you towards additional options. So being open to that's amazing. Once we kind of have a feel for where students are applying, we have to move into those small answer or those short answer responses, which that's kind of the nice thing about the writing exercises is it gives us space to jump off from, and then anytime we have a story from those exercises that we didn't get to use, it opens the door for those. How did y'all feel about the short answer process?
I enjoyed writing not as long of essays on things I really was happy with in my life, or other experiences that I've had. Some really cool things that didn't necessarily need 650 words, 750 words to talk about. Just it was really fun a lot of the time just to be able to talk about those things. Sometimes the short essays were really hard though, talking about what one specific university offers that none other does. That can kind of get really, really tedious fast, and then you really have to do your research. So with the short essays, though they might seem sometimes beautiful, it all depends on the prompt, definitely. But I just really enjoyed getting to tell those other stories that I really wanted colleges to know about, and things that have really shaped who I am, but not necessarily in my long essay. But yeah.
What about you?
Just like the short answer is kind of like piggybacked off the long essay. It's almost as if they were like extensions of the long essay, paragraphs I didn't include for some of them. And so it was like, I didn't really, in my long essay, I don't believe I really talked about like Boy Scouts. I saved that all for my short answers, right?
And your Boy Scout short answers were really impactful.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't really think, when I think of myself as a writer, I don't really think that I'm really that great at it. So it was nice to see that some of that could be like refined and see what it could be, you know?
Yeah. So if y'all think, just kind of like quick guesstimate, how many short answer questions do you think y'all had to answer over the course of applying to the infinity schools that you've applied to?
That's tough.
10, 20, 30?
Probably 20 plus. There's some schools, I don't know if you'd count them each as one. There's small, like really short answer ones, and if I'm counting those, they're probably 30 plus. Like some are just 50 word. Like, what's your favorite, place to go? Okay,
Yeah.
and 50 words. Oh my goodness.
Well, and then Stanford, I don't know if either of y'all played there, but they have some really fun, like, what you have one sentence to tell me something,
Yes,
and those can be really playful.
Yeah, those were the ones. Yeah, they were kind of interesting.
So using kind of our short answer methods, you wrote 30 short answer responses, but how many did you really have to draft from scratch, and how many were we able to kind of tweak and nuance and?
Yeah, I mean, from scratch, a lot of the things can be recycled if they're more generalized prompts about maybe a story or something that's shaped you. The only ones that I've really had to draft from scratch each time without any really idea of what to do are what makes this university special.
That's what makes those ones hard.
Yeah, those I couldn't just think of a story that I could kind of twist, or an essay that I could copy and paste and then just delete and add to.
But the nice thing even about those is they're asking you kind of why you want to study there also, so you have nuggets that you get to recycle,
right?
And then you get to go research
Yeah,
that university and then plug that information in, and then sometimes in that research you're like, ooh, maybe I don't want this, maybe I should go visit before I finalize this decision.
Yeah, lots of it was like actually I'm not gonna put any names out there, but I took some like organizations and just replaced it with a new one, and then and then took some more specific sentences towards that organization instead, and it was but pretty much it was the same essay.
Because you know what you want to study, you know what sorts of organizations you want to be involved in, and so that also kind of helps guide your research as you move through different universities. So that's good.
I'll say with the UT, one of the UT essays, whenever I was talking about why I would want to study at UT, one of my older essays I had written about an organization that I've been in around here, just completely almost wrote that essay for me once I figured out one organization at UT. So that is definitely piggybacking off what you said, like a small thing that can just write itself. Yes.
Something that I like, we did like Go Baby Go with Rob, and that like came in clutch on a couple essays for sure. The UT has like a prompt about how you going to impact like UT campus, and how are you going to be like in addition to their community and then past their community. And so you have to kind of talk about like what you do now and how like in volunteer organizations you're in now and how you're going to perpetuate that. And so I took Go Baby Go and I showed how I might perpetuate that and how I would push like what we're doing here into like other parts of my life,
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how they not only do they want to see that you're capable of growth and you've already experienced growth, but they almost require you to show how you are going to continue growing over the course of your time there and beyond. So one of the last things that I wanted to ask you about is, in addition to the essays, you have a whole application to fill out. One of the things that we offer is the AGP resume. How did that support you in your application?
So the resume let me get all of like my activities in. Really nice, and I felt it definitely structured it to where it needed to be, because I didn't know it was actually have to be like so concise, right? You mentioned that, I didn't even know that, and so the fact that I just filled in a resume and that went in there is pretty nice.
It's kind of nice that it also forces you to recall everything you've done over the last 4 years, what your leadership roles were, and then also kind of calculating your hours for you, I think is really convenient. But yeah, getting the descriptions down to 70 characters or 150 if you're using Common App is never a good time. So I'm glad we are able to do that for you. Did y'all have any last thoughts about college application? Any words of wisdom?
Make sure you know that there's other stuff you have to do, like submit transcripts, and you have to do that manually, one at a time with each class. Even though you're gonna have to send your transcript to them anyways, it's really intuitive actually.
Yeah.
But besides that.
So it becomes intuitive once you realize you have to do it, but
no, it's not intuitive.
It's not intuitive.
It's not intuitive. But maybe like remember that that's like separate from your application completely. I totally like missed that. Don't tell Rob that.
And that's usually.
I was like,
Don't
I
tell
just
Rob
haven't
that.
gotten around to it, Rob. As I check my email and see how it's like.
So that's what he's speaking to is a lot of universities will have their self-reporting system, and that is something that once you've applied, they'll send you information on how to log into that, and then you have to log in and submit transcripts and some other information. So that's totally separate from Apply Texas or College App or Coalition. So be very aware of that. Anything else?
Well, SRAR is the worst thing ever. I'll agree. It's the worst thing ever. I had to call A&M like twice because I accidentally messed up on one of the parts. I didn't give myself credit for a class or something like that. It was really bad. But definitely with college apps, start as early as you can in high school, just kind of thinking about it and thinking about schools, because that gives you more time if you're ever in another state. Like if you ever would want to maybe go to that school, go check it out and go drive around campus, because a thing that I've experienced is I really love these schools and how they sound, but I don't really know what it's like to be a student there. So I would say definitely reach out to people in college or anything like that. And then with essays, just always try and make cool memories in high school. Like really enjoy it, because the things that you enjoy the most are the things that you're going to write about. And that really makes the whole application process that much easier. But yeah.
Great. Well, thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
It's a Friday. Y'all should go have fun. So
I don't know.
Thank you, everyone. We'll be back with our next episode shortly.